How's it going, guys? I'm your host Caravan Gaming. Welcome back to another Rise of Kingdoms video. So for today, I actually have some really good news and some really bad news regarding the bets. So let us go through the good news first. The good news is we won big, and by big I mean really big. Big enough to clear out the entire shop for exactly what I need. So I only have 892 Oryx left because I cleared out every single thing that I want. That included this, your gold hits, obviously your 2 blueprints, golden stars, okay, your speed up chest, your AP, and all of your tomes of knowledge. Okay, the only things that is left that's worth buying is probably the 4 golden keys here. This, and this are completely not worth at all, so I wouldn't recommend getting them. But if you have spare Oryx lying around, then sure, you can go ahead and put them in. So last week I also forgot to put in the remainder of my coins, so I actually had about another 5,000 plus coins lying around which were unused. Okay, so you shouldn't be like me. You should definitely invest all of your coins into a bet. Okay, and for both we won big. Okay, so first up, Boop's Lifestyle versus K374. Without a doubt, K374 managed to win. It was a pretty close win, but nonetheless it was a win. You can see here less than it was only score difference by about 1,000. Okay, K374 was leading the entire match. In fact, at one point they were leading about 8 to 9,000 points. But Boop's Lifestyle, very good job to them. Managed to catch up all the way and made the difference like only 1,000 plus points. But still, it was not enough. K374 prevailed, and that gave me like an additional 3,000 something Oryx from this. But the big one comes from Rose, guys. Red Rose Empire, holy crap. Almost triple my winnings. This is crazy. Okay, Red Rose Empire, very strong arc team. They won UCS, and yeah, basically everyone who betted on Rose won really big last week, and I'm sure many did after watching their performance, and I'm really glad that they managed to win. It was another close match. Okay, so the score was 39,000 37,000, like only like still less than 2,000 points away. So very close match, very exciting match, and very interesting match. But of course, the one that was the shocker, OV versus Hong Kong Legends, Season 1 champions versus Season 2 champions. OV proving that they are once again not to be trifled with. Oh my gosh, nobody expected this, guys. That is where the bad news came in. OV versus Hong Kong Legends, very close match. OV managed to pull out the win in the end. It was an insanely close match. They were neck and neck the whole match, and I really have to give it up to them, man. OV, guys, do not ever sleep on OV. OV is one of the ARC teams. In fact, I would say is the only ARC team that tailors their strategy towards their opponents. They change up their strategy according to their opponents. They never stick to one strategy. The only time where they sort of fell off was when they went up against K374. I think this was because it was a relatively new team. They didn't know what to expect. Maybe there was a little bit of overconfidence as well, but showing that they can beat the Season 2 champions, Hong Kong Legends, the team with the best, the most immaculate timing inside of all of the Ark of Osiris's matches and all of the Ark of Osiris teams that I've seen so far. They beat Hong Kong Legends, and why is that so? It's because they adapted, they tailored their strategy to their opponents, and that is why OV is still so good, guys. Like, all of the other teams, they probably have one strategy that they just use throughout the match, but you know, there is no one strategy that counters everybody. OV, on the other hand, they don't have a set strategy from what I've seen. They tailor their strategy to their opponents, and that is what makes them so strong. They are willing to put in the effort to study their enemies, to change up their strategy every single match. And this is really, you have to put in a lot of effort, you have to put in a lot of work, a lot of hours goes into analyzing your opponent, into coming up with a strategy that counters your opponent's strategy, not a one-size-fits-all strategy. And so far, I would say that they are the only ARC team that I've seen doing that. All of the other ARC teams, I would say that they all use the same strategy for every single team. And if you're a good ARC team like Hong Kong Legends, sure, it will work against 99% of teams. But if you are facing up against someone like OV, like they study your strategies, they study how your team works, then they will come out with a better strategy to counter you. And that is exactly what they did, and that put them out the win. Crazy match. And yeah, the other crazy thing was SNO, the Frozen Empire, 2.9 billion points. They beat JWM, guys. JWM is like a 4 billion, 5 billion point team. This is crazy. And they beat them by 2,000 points. And you know what's the shocking part? SNO farmed 11,000 points. That's right, they did provisioning, 11,000 points worth of provisioning. They did not win a single arc. JWM, on the other hand, they won all of the arcs, but their provisioning was not enough. This is crazy. SNO, I would say they are very smart because they know that they probably don't have as many VIP 17 players as JWM. They probably don't have as good of a gear as JWM. So they know that when it comes to open field fights, they are almost always taking the negative trade. And did that matter to them? No, because if you're going to take the negative trade, then okay, so be it. If your opponent is going to be able to win the arc every time, so be it. But make sure you have enough points to overcome that. So JWM, one mistake that I felt that they did was they held on to the arc. I have no idea why. They can win the center pretty confidently every single time. They should not have held on to the arc. They should have went ahead to push for another arc, and then SNO will probably be in a stickier situation. But SNO, recognizing that they can never win the middle, they went all out and farmed. This is crazy. 11,000 points worth of provisioning. The first and the only team I've seen doing so. This is absolutely insane, guys. So definitely SNO, their win against BBTH, I would say it's not a fluke at all. They know what they are doing. Their loss against 411k, I would say it was a very close match, but 411k proved a bit too much for them. But you know, SNO taking on JWM, the Giants, the 2-season finalists, and they absolutely crushed them. So really kudos, man, and upsets all over the place, man. This season's Arc of Osiris, really, I would say it's anyone's game at this point. All four of these teams, very, very strong teams. Red Rose Empire, SNO, 2 billion power teams. They don't even have 3 billion power, 2.7 billion, 2.9 billion power. This shows that power means nothing in Arc of Osiris. Absolutely nothing. Because even at such low power, they are able to become semi-finalists, and that is very, very impressive. None of these teams have particularly impressive power, 3.6 billion power, and then K374 have 3.3 billion power, yet all of these people are semi-finalists. They are nowhere near the top in terms of raw power wise, but you know, strategy conquers all in terms of arc. Okay, so the sad news, unfortunately, Hong Kong Legends, oh my gosh, Hong Kong Legends is out. That means that all my marks of the champion, I'm sure many people placed all of their marks on Hong Kong Legends as well. Unfortunately, it was not enough. Okay, so the next team, and I would say the best bet will probably be OV. So I'm going to place everything on OV, and yeah, that's basically your best chance for winning. Okay, so don't get me wrong, the other three teams, very, very strong teams as well. But you know, I would say that OV would ultimately come out as the champion simply because they can adapt to their opponent. And with their first loss against K374, they know exactly how they played, so they will probably not make the same mistake again. If they were to face them again, then I'm very confident that OV will be able to come out with a better strategy that counters K374's strategy and be able to come out on top. So the next match, OV versus Red Rose Empire. I would say, though both teams are very strong, I would say OV will actually win this simply because or the fact that one, they have a little bit more power, which gives them a little bit of an advantage, but you know, power means very little. But two, also because I'm sure Slowdy and his ARC team are working very hard behind the scenes as we speak to come up with a strategy that counter Red Rose Empire's strategy. Because in the semi-finals, you definitely don't want to be fooling around. You don't want to be slacking off, you know. You don't want to make all the effort that you took to come so far go to waste. So I'm sure they are working very hard to come up with a strategy that counter Red Rose Empire. But you know, Red Rose Empire, not a weak team by any means, and it'll be an exciting match for sure. But I think OV will pull out on top. So the odds here it's about 1:3, so I will not bet here because I think OV will be the winner. K374 to SNO, it's a relatively even bet, so this is better if you guys want to place your bets. For SNO versus versus the Frozen SNO versus Heart of Courage, K374, my bet will have to go to K374, to be honest, because like, don't get me wrong, both of these teams, they've beaten very strong opponents before. K374 beat OV, Season 1 champions. They beat Boobs Lifestyle. They beat Dream League. They beat MCO. But Frozen Empire, not too shabby as well. They beat BBTH. They beat JWM to come all the way to the semi-finals. And will provisioning do it again for them? Against a strong team like K374? I don't know, man. Like, I think Frozen Empire will try to use the same strategy they use against JWM, because K374 very strong middle lane, okay, and I think they'll conquer middle just like how JWM conquered middle. But I think Frozen Empire, they will allocate enough farmers to go ahead and, you know, make up for the point difference. Will K374 allow this though? I am not entirely sure, but you know, going with gut feeling alone, I am going to have to bet on K374. Like, no offense to Snow, like they are a very strong team, but I think K374 will not allow Snow to just walk away with 11,000 points worth of provisioning. And for JWM, really, I don't know what they are doing. Like, why did they allow Snow to farm so much? I have no idea. You should at least dedicate one farm killer or 1 point disruptor every single match to kill off your enemy's farmers, in my opinion. So they didn't do that, and that was really what costed them. But I think K374, they probably know this after watching how Snow beat JWM. If they were smart, they will know that they are still going to dominate middle just like JWM, but K374 should definitely not allow Snow to have the chance to farm that many provisions. So that is it for this week's bets. I would say bet on K374 for Rose versus OV. If you want a safer bet, I would say you can bet on OV. If you're feeling lucky, you think Red Rose Empire has a chance, which I definitely think they do as well, you can try and gamble again and put your Oryx into Red Rose Empire. But before you do that, if you have won enough Oryx already, I will advise you to clear out the shop first, to buy whatever you need first, just in case, you know, you get unlucky with your bets, because you never know what may happen. And we've seen so many upsets this out of Osiris season, so very exciting season. And yeah, let me know down in the comments below, did you follow my bet or did you not follow my bets? Did you win big last round just like what I did? Did you have enough to clear out your shop? And yeah, that is it for this week's video. I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and of course subscribe to this channel if you'd like to see more such future content. Till the next time, I'm your host Carbon Gaming. Peace out.